Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam, and this is Talk with the Titans. On tonight's show, we've got the Sergeant of Sakari, Guerrilla Hebrew, in the studios. Shalom, shalom, Ak.
Hey, shalom, shalom. What's going on, brother?
All right. All is well, all is well, all is well. Okay, you know what? We haven't had the show on for a little while, so we have to apologize to our audience members out there. Talk with the Titans is on. Okay, this brother actually got me out of my sabbatical. I've been filming a documentary for everybody out there. That's one of the reasons why Talk with the Titans hasn't been on so far. Another reason as well, my laptop went down, and you know, we have to wait for things to actually get better. Things are better right now. So alhamdulillah and hallelujah for my Hebrews out there as well. So, Guerrilla Hebrew, what have you got in store for us actually? What have you got in store for us?
Well, basically, the purpose of this show basically is, to take the gloves off, not to hold any more punches or take any more prisoners. It's so much going on that is not conducive to what everybody alleges that their mission is, that our people are being hypocritical and perpetrating so much. You see what I'm saying? That it's got to be spoken out about. There are pressing issues that need to be addressed that are being ignored, and basically it's exposing how full of it some of our people who claim to be conscious and claim to be leaders are from every camp, whether it be Hebrew Israelite, whether it be people who are Afrocentric, Pan-Africanists, Muslims, so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying? So basically just want to kind of address things that are pressing and that have to be addressed. I can't hold my tongue anymore.
All right, all right. I know you have, you're going to be talking about the whole, what's been going on in the conscious community with ISUPK and Ankhakek, the Arm & Ra squad going head to head. I know you're going to be discussing bringing up the Polight shooting up the Bible situation and black on black crime within inside of our community. So I know you've got some very interesting conversations that you're going to be bringing to the forefront of our minds, and I can't wait to hear this information. But first, let me actually introduce our panel members that we have with us at the moment. We have the brother Alvin, Director Alvin. How you doing, my brother? Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, man. I'm right here with information you finna bring today, man.
All right.
Clear all this stuff up.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And we've also got our brother from the UK, Isa, representing Islam of the Quran. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, family. What's happening, brother?
Yes, all is good, all is good. It's so good to be back. Also, we have the rap god himself, Jonathan Owens, my brother, Smash Rockwell. How you doing?
What up, Kalam? Peace. What's up, Guerrilla Hebrew? Everybody on the panel, how y'all doing?
Hotep, you're looking fresh, King. All right. Okay, so Guerrilla, come on. Drop me something.
Well, the first thing, and the thing is, every issue that I want to speak about today, they tie into each other. You see what I'm saying? And they all kind of are cohesively working together in one way or another, whether it's for negativity or positivity. The first issue that I want to address is the rhetoric that I keep hearing being spewed by all parties. I keep hearing Hebrew Israelites spewing rhetoric. I keep hearing people who are Afrocentric or chemicentric or whatever you want to call it, spewing rhetoric. I'm hearing Muslims spew rhetoric. All I hear is regurgitated rhetoric over and over and over and over. And the chief place I want to focus this on, I mean, of course it's going on elsewhere, but I want to get on my own first. I want to get on Israel because I'm sick of hearing rhetoric. I go and I click on various Hebrew Israelite camps all over the world's videos, and I take a look at what they're talking about, and I hear rhetoric keep being regurgitated and repeated, and truthfully, it sickens me. As somebody who truly is passionate for the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Most High God, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, who I give all praises to, for the record. When I'm passionate about this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and when I tell people that we got a Bible that is a deep blue sea of infinite wisdom that we could get and give to our people and utilize it to help our people uplift ourselves out of this position, and all I see you doing is spewing man-made rhetoric loosely based off of understanding in the scriptures, it upsets me. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm sick of it. So I'm speaking out against that. Now we have a huge non-messianic versus messianic Hebrew conflict that's going on, whether people want to admit it or talk about it or not. But I'm hearing when I'm dealing with messianic brothers that believe the same as me, I hear them spewing rhetoric. And when I deal with non-messianic dudes, I'm hearing them spew rhetoric against messianic brothers. So I'm just sick of the rhetoric. You understand what I'm saying? We're supposed to be swordsmen. We're supposed to truly stand up for our people. So we have to respect swordsmanship. And the Bible tells us that it is our sword. So if we want to prove something in regards to the scriptures, we have to go to the scriptures. If we have historical documents, archaeology, history, or anything that coincides with that assists us in our argument, or if we're trying to debunk certain things, we have to use that. We can't just spew these things. We need to get the hard-hitting facts, and we need to hit them with it. We need to start dealing much more concretely. Okay, we're supposed to persuade people. We're supposed to tell people we got the truth. Rhetoric does not convince people that you have the truth. The only people who are convinced that you got the truth by rhetoric are simple-minded people and people that are not going to help your organization anyway. You see what I'm saying? So real quick, I just want to get a couple scriptures just on rhetoric to really chiefly admonish my Hebrew brothers, man. Okay, because honestly, I don't see the other parties involved stopping their rhetoric. I want to admonish them and encourage them to stop the rhetoric, but all I keep hearing is rhetoric being spewed, man, and it's sickening. Okay, it doesn't help our people. You really are just looking out for yourself at that point. Okay?
This is why I love our brother Guerrilla Hebrew. He's not a hypocritical brother. He actually bangs on his own. He bangs on himself. If there is something wrong, he reaches out and shakes the tree to say, wake up, all you bad apples, fix up. So my brother, continue. I'm loving what you're saying so far.
Yes, thank you, brother. Thank you. Because that's what we got to do, man. Because I truly believe in the doctrine that I'm teaching. You see what I'm saying? I truly believe. I truly believe in the doctrine that I'm teaching. You see what I'm saying? So if I truly believe in the doctrine that I'm teaching, and I see other brothers who truly believe in the same thing that I believe in, but they're not doing it correctly, I got to say something about that. Because there's people all over the world who need to hear what we're talking about and be uplifted by it. You understand what I'm saying? But real quick, let me get this in the book of Titus, the 1st chapter, and I'm going to go here to verse 10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. So amongst our people, we have many unruly and vain talkers. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I see. I see that rhetoric that I keep seeing spewed by Hebrew Israelites and people from outside of the Hebraic community who all consider themselves conscious, vainly talking, saying a bunch of words that don't mean anything and are not conducive whatsoever to the upliftment of black people anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? And that has to stop. Okay, because now the ISUPK, they often tell people who come up against them that they hate black people. And that is a very accurate thing to say. And we all need to start saying it. When you see people just spewing rhetoric and unruly and vainly speaking, deceiving many, they have to be called out, and you have to tell them that they hate their people. Because if they did it, if they did love their people, they wouldn't just come with that rhetoric. They would come with true information that's going to help them out, whether it be spiritual, whether it be historical, whatever it is. If you love your people, you're going to feed them with truth. You're not going to feed them with things that make you look good. You understand what I'm saying? So that's got to stop. Let me go here to the book of Ephesians, the 4th chapter, start at the 14th verse. That we henceforth be no more children. Okay, keep this scripture in mind because it's going to come to play a little later in something else I got to talk about. But we are commanded by the Most High to be men, not children anymore. And you got a lot of grown-ass black men that call themselves conscious that are running around like a bunch of goddamn little kids. And that's got to stop. I'm going to start back from the top. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried away with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men. What is the sleight of men? By tricks of men. You know, you have a sleight of hand trick. So a lot of our people are carried away into madness because of the rhetoric that people come with is their sleight that they're using to trick people and carry them away in the various doctrines that don't help uplift our people whatsoever. Let me continue. By the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, that's that rhetoric, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. And a lot of guys are lying in wait to deceive people through their vain rhetoric and talk. And that's got to stop. We supposed to really care about our people, man. You see what I'm saying? And the thing about the Hebrew Israelites, that we do to show we care about our people is week in and week out. We go and we teach to our people. We go and bang on our people in their face and tell them what they do is wrong, and we tell them who their enemy is. You understand what I'm saying? Going into my next point, Ankhakek of the Amun-Ra squad called himself going up to Tzariak's camp, the ISUPK camp out there in Harlem this last Saturday. And what the hell did he do when he went up there to help black people? Not a goddamn thing. He was just up there as an unruly and vain talker, okay, trying to use the sleight of men to deceive people. Meanwhile, Tzariak was up there and the other brothers, Sakawar, Katazai, and all the rest of the brothers that are up there that stand strong and firm on 125th Street every week, not just when it's hot, not just when they're in town, every single week. When they go out there, they letting our people know what time it is. They're telling our people to stop dealing with prostitution, dealing with drugs, murdering each other, letting our people know what's going on, our people getting murdered, man. You see what I'm saying? Warning the people. That's if you cared about the people, you would warn them when something negative is getting ready to come. But what does Ankhakek do? He comes up with a damn blowhorn and does what exactly? Nothing. Being an unruly and vain talker. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what you Kemet dudes think is cool. That's what you think is helping the people. This is what I'm saying, man. Y'all ain't doing, and I'm going to say this right now because I just got on my people for spewing rhetoric, but now we switching camps. You Kemetic dudes is doing nothing to help black people, man. I see you doing absolutely nothing, especially when you come up. Even if you disagree with the use of the Bible. He was up there mostly reading a scripture here and a scripture there, but just rationalizing with our people, trying to get them to recognize who their enemy is and stop doing the negative things that are deteriorating our community. But you want to come up and interrupt that? What the hell are you talking about, man? You see, and this is the thing. That's why this thing is called the gloves is coming off. Because I've dealt with diplomacy. Ever since I've been dealing with the conscious community, I've dealt with a lot of diplomacy. And at this point, it's out the window. I'm not taking any prisoners. The diplomacy is done, and guerrilla warfare is being waged through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That's period. No more diplomacy. I don't want to be a diplomat anymore. I don't have to be friends or cool with all these various guys. If y'all don't like me for speaking the truth, go ahead. Like it tells us in the book of the Galatians, have I now become your enemy because I tell you the truth? If I become your enemy because I tell you the truth, then good. Okay? Because what you're doing is showing your hatred to our people, and I'm showing my love to our people. Okay, and because you guys are so centered around debunking the Bible, guess what? We your daddies now, because your whole life revolves around us at that point. Y'all say the Egyptian cosmology revolves around the sun. No, it revolves around the Bible. That's point blank. Period. Y'all revive around the Bible now because that is all y'all talk about. So since that, we your daddies now, and I'm putting all y'all on timeout, and I'm telling all y'all that y'all tripping, and you need to check yourself. But go ahead, Kalam.
Damn, the gloves are off. Hey, when you said to me that the gloves are coming off, I didn't know that you was going to go in this deep. Oh my gosh, you're throwing some blows right about now. Listen. You're calling out the spokesman of the Amun-Ra squad. I don't think you know what you're doing, you know. This is Ankhakek. He reminds me of the best reincarnated himself. He's got that fire inside of him. Hey, listen. When Ankh comes on, I know Ankh is going to hear this. And when he comes on, I'm just saying, prepare yourself. But I already know the gloves are off and you ain't taking no prisoners. These Kemetic dudes are your children. You're sonning them right now. And you're the dad. Right. I'm loving it. So you know what? And listen, audience members out there, if you're loving the information that you're hearing so far, please just give us a big thumbs up. Let us know that you're liking it. Just type down there that you're loving what you're hearing so far. And if you're new to this channel, just hit the subscribe button. You know what it is. Just hit the subscribe button and follow us. We've got great Titans passing through the studios every single week. We've got an extraordinary Titan passing through next week. We've got Titans passing through the week next week, the week after that, and the week after that. If you haven't seen our past shows, there will be a playlist that should be up here, a little I button. Just click on that and you'll see the past shows. We've had Shaka Ahmos, we've had Jonathan from the Amun-Ra squad on, Ankhakek from the Amun-Ra squad on, Guerrilla Hebrew on already. We've got Dr. Ali Muhammad on, etc. You know, the list goes on. Asar Imhotep as well. The list goes on. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button because we're about to go in. Let everybody know Talk with the Titans is on right now. Hit the share button and let's kick it. Guerrilla Hebrew, back to you, my brother.
Yeah, and I just want to say this, man. I'm going in and I'm going hard, but ultimately it's out of the greater love for my people at large. Point blank, period. And this shouldn't be taken as disrespect. You see what I'm saying? Because I know Ankhakek, you know, Jonathan is on the panel right now. I know all these brothers who I'm getting ready to call out. I know these brothers, and I've had conversation with these brothers. So it is a respect level. It ain't no disrespect, but it's just, I'm just calling the spade because the gloves is off. So I just want everybody to make sure they understand that. You see what I'm saying? But now what I want to segue into is this Polight thing, right? Now, initially, when he shot the scriptures up or whatever, I just fell back. I didn't want to say anything because Polight is what you would call an attention seeker. He just is seeking the attention of the Hebrew Israelites.
A lot of people may not even know that Polight shot the Bible. Could you give us the context of actually what happened? Well, the audience members there who haven't seen this video.
Basically, he goes to a shooting range, and he said that there's a lot of holes in the biblical doctrine, so he said he wanted to display that, give us a visual display of that, so he put it up there, and he shot it with his, you know, military gun, whatever gun he had. I forget which exact firearm he had, but, you know, he shot it up. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the thing about Polight, like I said, is he is an attention seeker, so I didn't want to give him any attention. You know, I met up with him back in November out here on the West Coast in Hollywood and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We had a good discourse. You know, like I said, it ain't no hard, ain't nothing personal. The gloves is coming off, but it's because it's not for any personal reason. I have no personal problems with any of these individuals that I'm getting ready to talk about. You see what I'm saying? What it is I care about my people. So it's not personal, it's business. Who the world calls Christ Yahushua, when he was 12 years old, he was ministering in the temple and teaching the people. And his mother asked him where he was, and he said, don't you know I must be about my Father's business? So this is what we got to be about. We got to be about the business of the Heavenly Father, because his business and being about it is what's going to uplift our people and get us out of the state that we're in. So I got to be about my Father's business. So this is nothing personal towards anybody. But we all know Polight does outlandish things for the sake of seeking attention. You understand what I'm saying? And shooting up the Bible was definitely one of them. But when I sat back and thought and I analyzed the action that he took when he shot that Bible up, what he's doing is he exposed where he's at psychologically. He psychologically is at the level of a toddler. Here's why. When a toddler is not at the intellectual level to figure out a particular object, he likely irrationally acts out against that object and will try to destroy it and try to impose physical harm on it, because they're carnal at that point. They're children and they don't understand deeper spiritual things. So it's okay, Polight. I understand your frustration and why you shot the Bible up, because you are not on the intellectual or spiritual level to understand the algorithmic science that goes with understanding the scriptures. So because you're not on that level, of course, at the child's level you're on, you had to shoot it up. But that's why the scriptures tell us, let's be no more children in understanding. Let's be men in understanding and children in malice. But all of you guys, y'all have become men in malice and you're children in understanding, especially in matters of true spirituality. Okay, so I understand why he did that. It's an act of frustration because he does not have the spirit upon him from the Heavenly Father. And call me spooky if you want to. I don't give a damn. But you don't have the spirit, you don't have the intellectual ability to understand the words that are within there. So of course you're going to shoot it up. I don't care enough about the Book of the Dead to shoot it up, man. You understand what I'm saying? I don't give a damn about it. It's nothing. Okay, when you got spells like Spell 700 that deal with sodomy, I don't give a damn about that book, and any of that helps our people, not at all. So I want to get that out of the way, but I want to further delve into the psychology and the thought process of Brother Polight just briefly. Okay, Brother Polight do a video. He take a picture with a whole lot of money. Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? Ain't nothing wrong with having some money, right? Then he rides around in a Bentley. Then he goes shopping at Whole Foods. What he's showing you is white supremacy. He is showing you how he caters to white supremacy, and he thinks all of us should get on board with white supremacy. Okay? Now, taking a picture, flashing all these bills with white people faces on it, that's white supremacy. Okay? Nothing wrong with getting money, but why aren't you getting that money and doing something and helping the community with it? What the hell are you doing in the community? You're supposed to be from the 90s in Brooklyn. What the hell have you done for that neighborhood? Explain it to me. You've done nothing for that neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? Now, he went shopping at Whole Foods. He did a whole video shopping at Whole Foods. You know how many black and African stores there are in Brooklyn that you could have went to that are independently owned stores that sell holistic and organic food? You could have went in there and said, look, why don't you people support your own people and come up here into these stores and patronize your brother's stores, patronize continental African stores, patronize West Indian stores? Why don't you do anything like that? No, you go to the goddamn white man's store and you patronize his store where they selling you genetically modified foods and calling it organic. You ain't no goddamn conscious, man. You are a white supremacist. And let me tell you something. This is for all of you Kemetic dudes, and all of y'all gonna be hurt by this. But all of you should be goddamn ashamed of yourself that you let Dr. Ben have his funeral in a goddamn church with white Jesus plastered on walls above him, man. Them stained glass windows had Caesar Borgia on it, and you let them get buried in there. All of you niggas ain't shit, man. And I'm gonna say it, man. All of you niggas ain't shit for that, okay? You ain't seeing that happen with Hebrew Israelites when we depart, man. So all of y'all, man, y'all are full of shit and y'all are white supremacists. And that was a testament to the fact that you support white supremacy, that you let your God, your father, Dr. Ben, get buried under the shadow of white Jesus. All of y'all are white supremacists. And that's why Polight shops at Whole Foods. That's why he went and got him a German car, and he wants to show you his German car. And he wants to show you how he shops at white stores. Instead of going into black stores, going into African stores, he wants to support continental Africans. There's continental Africans that got stores all throughout Brooklyn, organic stores. Why didn't you go there? Why didn't you patronize them? Because you're full of shit, that's why. All right? None of you niggas is about black people. Y'all hate black people, right? All right, go ahead, Kalam. Let me chill out for a second. Go ahead.
Oh, my days, my brother is passionate today. Oh gosh, the fire was inside of him. All right, listen, if you haven't subscribed again, I'm gonna just put this out there. If you haven't subscribed already, just hit the subscribe button down below. Tell me, what are your thoughts also on what our brother has to say? He's really going in. You know, the Ankhakek situation, the Polight situation. Please let me know in the comment section down below what are your thoughts on this. All right, I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna open this up to the audience members very soon. Okay, very soon I'm going to open up the link so you can come in and have a conversation with our Titans. You're going to be able to come in and talk with Guerrilla Hebrew. You're going to come in and talk with the panels as well. So if you haven't already joined us on Facebook, just type in Talk with the Titans, and I'm going to put a link there as well. Inside of the Talk with Titans Facebook group, I'm going to put a link so you can come in and join us and have a conversation as well. But just to put it out there to the audience members and to our panelists as well. Talk with the Titans was birthed out of the idea that the intellectual giants, the titans of the community, should have a well-organized platform to present, discuss, and debate critical information affecting our community proposed by you, our audience members out there. You just let us know who you want on and what type of information you want to hear, and we'll get these Titans to come on and present and discuss or debate this information as well. And when you come on Talk with the Titans as well, we have 3 simple rules. We have 3 simple rules. The first rule is to keep your mics muted at all times. The second rule is to respect our brothers or sisters ciphers when they're speaking, and the third rule is no profanity at all. This is a family-friendly environment where we have children, we have family members sitting down, you know, watching the YouTube, casting it on their TVs, you know, playing their PlayStations or Xbox, and they're watching Talk with the Titans. Okay, so please, no profanity. So our brother for Guerrilla Hebrews going in, and I'm here cutting his wisdom to just give you a quick interruption and announcement. But my brother Guerrilla Hebrew, please continue.
Yeah, thank you, brother, man. And again, thanks for this opportunity, man. You know what I'm saying? I really wanted to get this off my chest. It's been on my spirit, man, because the Apostle Paul in the New Testament said, "It is my," matter of fact, let me get it before I go any further. Go ahead to the book of Romans. This Romans 10:1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel is that they might be saved. So that's my mission, and that's my heart's desire to the Most High God, the power, the creator of heaven and earth, the only living God. Okay, that my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, might be saved. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the reason why you see me out here with this passion. I'm not sitting here doing a damn Academy Award winning appearance, man. You see, act. You see what I'm saying? I'm serious about this, man. I'm serious about black men and women and children getting killed, getting raped, getting robbed, getting murdered, struck out on drugs. You understand what I'm saying? We all become victims. So we all are victims of circumstances to one degree or another. And if you weren't, your people are people that look like you, or people that share your ancestral lineage are affected by this. So we should care about these things because every other race and every other nation on the planet Earth, they care about what happens to their people. Okay, and they do something when somebody does something to their people. We are the only people, for whatever reason, that don't. You see what I'm saying? And when we do, something gets introduced within it that corrupts it. You understand what I'm saying? So, which I'm going to kind of tie into here in a second. But the next thing I want to talk about is the sovereignty thing, because Polight in the New Covenant, they sell sovereignty. Many Moorish people, they sell sovereignty. What is sovereignty? How can one become sovereign, right? So they tell you you pay them some money, they get some documents, they file some papers or whatever, you start calling yourself sovereign. Okay, let me tell you something. That is a scam, all right? And I don't care if I'm hurting anybody's pockets, because that is a scam. Okay, I was doing some research about a month ago. We were doing a prophetic presentation, and we were showing the history that went along with these prophecies, proving you that the Bible is historically accurate because of the prophecies that it prophesied about prior to them occurring. And it had to do with the formation of the EU and NATO and things of that nature. When I was researching NATO, I went to the Spanish, some information on the Spanish army, and it said something that was very profound that basically cuts heavily into what a lot of these sovereign sellers say. It says that the army of Spain protects its sovereignty. So I don't give a damn what you say about sovereignty. I don't care how many pieces of paper or your national ID card. If you do not have an army to protect and maintain your sovereignty, you do not have sovereignty. And last time I checked, New Covenant didn't have an army. The Moorish Science Temple of America or any of its subsidiaries or any of its splinter groups do not have an army. So if any of those people are trying to market to you sovereignty, they are liars. They are scam artists. It is a lie and it is a ploy. You are not truly sovereign. Y'all need to pay attention. Okay? The scriptures say if you care about your people, you go to the gaps and you warn your people. The gaps are the holes that are around that are in the fortified fence that would protect the city. So metaphysically, if there's any holes within our communities, we need to go fill them in whatever capacity we can. You understand what I'm saying? There's something called Jade Helm. It is a 10-state military exercise that will begin in July. Okay, and the hot spots are Texas and Southern California. You know what they're doing here in Southern California? They're closing Walmarts down, which you know the type of money that Walmart's getting. They are closing Walmarts down in order to put people in them in short-term internment camps, so you can understand, okay? And you know what they're doing in the drills? You have military soldiers that are going up to people in drills who are saying, we're sovereign, you can't do anything to us, and busting them upside their head with M16s. They did it in Northern California in real life. So all that sovereignty is out of the window. We have real life problems, not problems that exist on the walls of ancient Egypt, not problems that a sovereignty national ID card can solve. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have real life problems, and the only way that we can prepare ourselves for the real life problems is with the Holy Bible handed to us by the Most High God. That is the only way that we could do it, because it's the only book that tells us about these things before they happen. It is the only book that tells us how to arm ourselves before it happens and prepare both spiritually, mentally, and physically before any of these things occur. So all the rest of that stuff, I don't give a damn what you're saying. It's filibuster and it's rhetoric, because it doesn't help us right now today. Point blank, period. Okay? And real quick, I want to make this comment about another observation I made about Polight, and then I'm up off of him. And that's his New Covenant emblem. If you notice, in the New Covenant emblem, you have America enlarged, and you have Africa minimized and up under America. Do you understand that the subliminal message that he's trying to iterate to you, he's not interested in going back to Africa and building Africa. He's interested in living within America and within the confines of white supremacy and trying to prosper within the confines of white supremacy as much as possible, and he wants to do it out of your black pocket. So that's all I want to say about him. Now I'm off him. Dealing with the whole sovereignty thing and back to the things that pertain to that. Really, one more thing about Polight, actually. I lied. Polight said something when he did his little thing with the Bloods and the Crips or whatever, when he was out in Jersey, when he called himself getting a great millstone. And he said, yeah, see, we're going to incorporate, they Crips, they got their own flag, the blue flag, we're going to incorporate that into sovereignty, or whatever madness he said. Let me tell you something, man, because now I want to get into the gang violence, and I wanted to segue that into gang violence and black-on-black violence in and of itself. We have gang violence that is plaguing the entire world, not nation, not Chicago, not Los Angeles, the world. In Amsterdam and Europe right now, you got people from Suriname, black people. You also got people from Haiti that's out there. You know what they're doing? They're banging Crips and Bloods just like they do out of South Central Los Angeles. And it's not limited to there. So globally, wherever our people are in the diaspora, we are becoming a part of a system of gang culture. And I grew up in that gang culture. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason why I got engaged in the gangs, truth be told, it was two reasons. One, because of the communal aspect that I thought it was about, and for the lack of knowledge of self. And there was an interview that T. Rogers had did with a Blood in Vegas. T. Rogers being the founder of the Black P. Stones, the Los Angeles branch of the Black P. Stone Blood gang. He did an interview with a Blood in Las Vegas, and he asked him, look, what do you think the main problem that's plaguing Las Vegas, the hood of Las Vegas, is right now? You know what he said? He said the problem that has always been our problem. We don't know who we are. So when you see Hebrew Israelites on the corner trying to tell our people who we are, and you come up and interrupt that with madness, you ought to be ashamed of your goddamn self, because you know what the people are saying? That's the problem, that we need to identify ourselves properly. And we're giving that to them properly according to biblical prophecy and history, and you want to stop that, you out of your goddamn mind. But anyway, dealing back with the whole gang situation that has become a global epidemic, and engaging in it. Now, initially, like I said, the whole ideology of gangs is not a negative thing. It's all for positivity. It's all for having a sense of identity, and all for being about your community and your loved ones and the people that live in your immediate surroundings. But it became something else. And the reason why it became something else is because it was infiltrated. We know what happened out here on the West Coast. We know about the murder of the leaders of the Black Panthers. Yahushua, who the world inwardly calls Christ, and in the Old Testament it says, well, basically in the Old Testament, I believe it's in the book of 2 Kings, I believe. It says, if you smite the shepherd, the sheep will scatter. So when the smiting of the Black Panthers happened, the sheep scattered. All the young black men needed to be a part of something. So various gangs were formed throughout Southern California and elsewhere. It was going on a little bit earlier in Chicago, truth be told. I believe starting about 1957, I believe. And my research serves me correct. But you had that happen. So you had our people scrambling, especially the young brothers that were scrambling, that was trying to create things to identify themselves by. And we had, which was initially called the Cribs, okay, the Cribs, all right? Now, real quick, T. Rogers, in one of his interviews, again, the founder of the Black P. Stone Bloods in the area known as the Jungles, y'all might have seen it on Training Day. He was also in Training Day. He said, when gang culture started in Los Angeles, every single gang wore blue bandanas. Okay, and we know now that's commonly known as the Crips, right? But initially, everybody wore blue bandanas. We got to go a little bit further to understand where the element of the red bandana came. Okay, real quick. And now we got to go to Chicago in order to do that. A lot of people don't think there is a direct correlation between Chicago and Los Angeles gang culture, and on some levels they're correct, but when you get into the origins of it, they are directly connected, and there's a direct parallel. You had two sets of gangs. You had the disciples and you had the gangsters. Not to mention, of course, the vice lords and the Black P. Stones that existed also. But I want to speak about initially the gangsters, like the Supreme Gangsters, the Imperial Gangsters. You had like the Devil's Disciples, so on and so forth. Right? They came together and they formed the Black Gangster Disciple Nation. This is back in the early 70s, where you had King David Barksdale and King Larry Hoover, who they caught, right? And with King David Barksdale being dead and King Larry Hoover being incarcerated, I believe, in Colorado. So they came together. Where they had this meeting to come together as one was in a Masonic temple. David Barksdale and Larry Hoover were initiated into the Masonic order, okay, and into a white Masonic order, so you can understand also. And this is why you see so many symbols that are very similar to Freemasonry within their organizations, within especially Chicago organizations, because it was a direct Freemasonic infiltration of these young black street gangs. If you know anything about the Masonic, just the surface level Masonic knowledge, you know you have an outer court and you have an inner court. And the people in the outer court really don't know what's going on. The people in the inner court really understand what's going on. So you had these people who founded these gangs and started initiating all these young black men into these gangs. And them young black men, the little homies, that's basically the outer court. They don't know what's going on. They're killing at the command of older men who are initiated Freemasons, who are actually fulfilling an agenda given to them, handed down directly by the so-called white man, who is the Edomite that the Bible speaks of. Okay, so when guns hit the hood, when drugs hit the hood, it is all because of a Freemasonic connection that black individuals who sold out had to white individuals who were both a part of the Freemasonic order. Okay, what does this have to do with Los Angeles? Because the Black Gangster Disciple Nations was not alone in Masonic affiliation. You also, in the People Organization, or the Five as they call it, with the Vice Lords and the Black Peace Stones, so on and so forth, had a Masonic ties and infiltration. So all of a sudden, you got a kid who moves from Chicago to Los Angeles by the name of T. Rogers. The Black Peace Stones, of course, being a gang that was originally started in Chicago. A little after T. Rogers comes to Los Angeles and starts the Black Peace Stone gang, there was conflict with certain gangs in the Crips. And then the Blood Alliance forms. Now, the Blood Alliance is symbolized by the red bandana, right? If you know anything about how the so-called white man operates, you know he does something called controlled opposition. And the controlled opposition usually goes with blue and red. That's why you got Democrats and Republicans. You got blue states, you got red states. Blue and red is basically the same sentiment as black and white. It's showing you opposition. So everybody wore blue, but then all of a sudden, when a kid who was initiated into a gang that had Freemasonic ties and the Black Peace Stones moves across country from Chicago to Los Angeles and starts their gang out there, and then gets a few other gangs a part of them, now you have the red introduced into the Los Angeles gang culture, the blue and the red there, right? Just like going back to Chicago gang culture, the disciples of them, they wore blue, and the people, they wore red. But go ahead, brother.
So you're telling me that, you know, the Masons actually initiated, we're talking about Larry Hoover, these big names, these big gang members, into Masonry. And that was the catalyst for the whole gang culture operating in America, that they started these Bloods and Crips gang. Are you telling me that these people, or these Larry Hoovers, etc., were Masonic puppets? Is that what you're actually telling me? And everybody in America that's following this gang culture is, you know, a diluted, you know, it's a diluted version of Masonry infiltration. I don't know. Let me know. Is that what you're telling me?
They're basically, initially they weren't the catalyst. The gang culture existing was at a means to an end, and it was liable to happen, especially due to the fact that we didn't have our identity as a people. We didn't really know who we are. We were given a blanket generic term as Negro, especially during that time. But what happens is you have these young kids who start to get notoriety and become to get leaders because they're charismatic or whatsoever, what have you, and then they may get approached by Freemasons, and they may get initiated, and they may get promised certain things, and you know, and the downhill effect goes on. You understand what I'm saying? That's what happened. We know that happened with Free Red Ricky Ross. You see what I'm saying? With the CIA approached them and helped them to introduce crack. But here's the thing too. Now, T. Rogers, again, in an article written on him about GQ magazine, says the man that helped introduce crack cocaine to America. He was a part of that, right? So would it be far-fetched to say that he was also approached and a part of something, especially because coincidentally he gets initiated into the Black Peace Stones and then moves to Los Angeles, to an area that didn't really have a gang that controlled it, and created one of the biggest gangs in Los Angeles in the Black Peace Stones. They got like three separate neighborhoods that they control. In the Baldwin Village area and things like that. You know, you got the jungle ones and you got the city stones and things like that. So you had that occur, and then he influenced other independent gangs to start this blood identity and start wearing red as their symbol of color, as opposed to the traditional blue that everybody in the city was wearing during that period of time. So basically there was a Masonic infiltration. Initially the gang culture was not Masonic, but the Masons, through, you know, going all the way to the top, the elites that want to control and keep our people down, infiltrated. And then they start giving guns to our people. And then they start giving drugs to our people and things like that. It assists them in, you know, the rapid deterioration of our communities. You understand what I'm saying? It creates a culture of people who are either hooked on drugs, killed at a young age, or incarcerated for life. You see what I'm saying? So this is how the white man works. I mean, me and Alvin, on one of the shows that we did, the Warriors of Wisdom we spoke about the system that the white man creates, basically. And it's everything he does is systematic. That's why we call him the devil, because he's good at what he does. He creates systems to keep our people in traps and cycles. The brother Schoolboy Q, very famous dude, on his first album, he had a song called Cycles. And in the hook he said, I know niggas that killed niggas that killed niggas that killed niggas that killed niggas. You see what I'm saying? So it's the cycle because it's a system or a pit that's been set up by our oppressor to keep us within that cycle. You see what I'm saying?
Wow, wow, wow. That's real interesting information. It seems like, these elites of society, infiltrate these black organizations, to really decapitate them, to stifle them, to make them degrade, and then to take all their resources as well. And even maybe, dare I say, start the process of gentrification, running down an area so much that it goes beyond disrepair for the community, and they come in and buy up all the property, all of the resources, and then the lower class people, the minorities, the blacks, etc., are now kicked out of those areas and are living as the servants of that area, while their once rich, prosperous area is now in the hands of the elite of society. This is very interesting, very interesting. And hopefully you and Brother Alvin could come in and give us, an in-depth, discussion or presentation on the happenings, on that type of happenings. But yeah, I'm going to hand it back to you. Continue.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be looking forward to it. But and that's the thing. Our people don't know these things, and the reason why our people want to be a part of gangs oftentimes, again, is for lack of knowledge of self, right? And this is Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. So the reason why people are destroyed is for that lack of knowledge. And we see what, even though gang culture initially started for positivity, it ended up in negativity. So it's a system that destroys our people. So because of this lack of knowledge, our people get involved in things that ultimately leads to their destruction. And it's prophesied right here in the Bible. Our people are lawless. And that's the thing about a lot of the gangs, man. A lot of the codes of ethics that even existed in the early 70s, right now today, as in the OGs, right now today, those codes of ethics are no longer intact. They don't even exist anymore. You see what I'm saying? It's been a rapid deterioration of the morality of our people. But if we come back to who we are as Hebrew Israelites, and we come back to the law, statutes, commandments, and the customs that the Most High God gave us, we wouldn't be plagued by any of these problems. But our people don't want to do it. They would rather be Pan-Africanists, because in Pan-Africanism, you don't have a code of conduct and morality. You can really just go as you please. And when you look in the scriptures, it'll tell you about different periods of history for Hebrew Israelites, and it'll say that there was no king in Israel at this time, and every man did after the will of his own heart. And every single time where the Bible says that, it was during a horrible time where Israel was in a state of disarray. So anytime that we do that as a people, we're always going to be in disarray. And that is the era that we live in right now. Our people are just driven by their own will, very self-willed, no sense of order, no sense of morality, ethics rapidly deteriorating, and then we wonder why we're in this state and that we're in this position. You understand what I'm saying? But real quick, touching on the Black P Stones, going back to them. Now, the Black P Stones started to actually, the leader, Jeff Fort, started to sway towards being a Hebrew Israelite. There was a school that still exists to this day in Chicago, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe this is the school that Nasi's father comes out of. The Benai Zakan school, or Zaquan school, that's in Chicago. And there was a faction of the Black P Stones that existed for a short period of time that was known as the Israelite Stones. And what happened is Jeff Fort was trying to break away from what he had got and start receiving Israelite teachings. He eventually rejected the Israelite teachings for the Morris teachings and the creation of El Rukins and things like that, because there were certain things that he couldn't do if he was a Hebrew Israelite. He can no longer run a drug ring being a Hebrew Israelite. You cannot distribute narcotics to your people and be a person of the Most High God. You can't do it. So he went into a system outside of the scriptures that had less strict bylaws, that he felt like he could be allowed to do as he pleased and continue in this criminal enterprise with. You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing about the scriptures. The scriptures are very strict. They're very plain and to the point. And Hebrew Israelites were very strict when it comes to following the laws and following the Torah. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of our people are turned off by the order and the strictness and the discipline that comes with being a Hebrew Israelite. That's why they're so quick to reject being a Hebrew Israelite. And that ideology, that lazy, niggerish mindset, that's something that has to go too, because that is in no way conducive to the upliftment of our people. You see what I'm saying? And when you come and you knock the brothers, you say we Power Rangers, we come and stand on the corner and shout, and you knock us, what you're doing is knocking progress. Because we are trying and going in smash mouth style, getting in the face of our people. Because that's how you got to wake a nigga up sometimes. Sometimes our people are hard sleepers. You got to throw a bucket of water on them. You got to get in their face. You got to shake them and tell them to wake the hell up. And we're doing that, and what the hell are you doing? You sitting at home. But you got the nerve to knock us. That is ridiculous. That is oxymoronic. Stop it. You are anti-progress and you are anti-black people when you do that, point blank, period. You know, me, I'm talking about the Masonic influence in gangs. I was a devout gang member when I heard about the truth. And I had to turn from all of that. I had to stop selling drugs. I had to stop committing adultery. I had to stop going out of my way to destroy my fellow brothers. I had to stop doing all of those things for the Most High God. But in these other systems that people allege to be a part of, you don't have to stop. You're not required to stop for those things. So people are more swayed to get involved with those things because of lack of discipline and a lack of strictness, man. And we need that as a people. We need discipline. How many brothers, when they was growing up, their mama told them, man, I'm going to send you to boot camp, man. You see what I'm saying? Boot camp is becoming a Hebrew Israelite. You talking about the ultimate boot camp? Becoming a Hebrew Israelite is the ultimate boot camp. Coming back to these law, statutes, and commandments. You see how militant brothers are when we stand in the street. We got to know scriptures off the top of our head, cut into people, deal with all this, and that. You think this just comes overnight? No, it doesn't, man. It takes long, hard study, and it takes discipline. We got to stand on hard concrete. The white man destroying the earth. We got to stand on this hard concrete for hours and talk to a bunch of people who are being reprobates, who would rather be lazy. You see what I'm saying? That takes true militancy. That takes true discipline, and that takes love, most importantly, the Most High God and your people, man. Okay, so if y'all condemn us, it's because you don't have those things. You don't have love for the universal creator, and you don't have love for your people when you knock us for doing that, man. Go ahead, brother.
Wow, okay. I'm actually going to open it up, open up the dialogue to our audience members. Okay, our audience members out there, if you would like to come onto the panel and ask any questions, I'm going to post up the link on the Talk with the Titans Facebook group. So if you haven't, joined the Facebook group, send a request and I'll add you in. Or you should just, you can even Google the Talk with the Titans Facebook group and you should be able to see the link pop up. So I'm going to send it off so you can join and ask any questions. For those of you who haven't got any questions, those of you who do have comments and questions but can't join in on the Google Hangouts, just type your questions or your comments into the commentary box down below. So yeah, I'm just going to send this off right now. Brother Guerrilla Hebrew, if you've got anything else to add, please add it right now before everybody jumps in and asks you any questions.
Yeah, before the questions come, I just want to hit a couple points real quick. Dealing with the culture of black on black violence that occur, it's a question that's constantly been being asked. Why are we so quick to kill our people, but we're not? We won't do anything to the person who's been killing us and raping and robbing and murdering us, and has us even in the position to where we feel like we're at odds with our own brothers. And it's a sick cycle. You have a lot of rappers. I believe Alley Boy just he just was in a situation in Los Angeles, and he was like, the only thing I run from is cops. And a lot of guys pride themselves on that. And I'm not necessarily knocking that. You see what I'm saying? But it's like, okay, we run from cops. We run from a conflict with cops. We want no problems with the police, but we go out and seek issues with our own brothers. How crazy is that? The only way to answer that question is there's a system that's been in place, and it was prophesied that this system would be in place, that our people would have this type of mentality, okay, and the Bible tells us this, okay. So real quick, I want to go to Deuteronomy 28 into the curses, and I want to go to the 54th verse. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate. So the Bible said we're supposed to look at each other as delicate. We're supposed to value every single black life as precious. Okay, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother. So it was a curse that we were going to have this evil eye. This is the only thing that explains why our eyes are so evil towards our brother. Does this mean that the curse, the Most High just snapped his fingers and the curse just magically happened? No. We understand that a system has been put in place by the so-called white man that has created an ideology and a thought process like this. You understand what I'm saying? The Most High is much more practical than a lot of y'all make him out to be. You think every time we talk about the Most High, we're talking about some spookism. He operates very practically, okay? Let me continue. His eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And we know, we can all see clearly that that's something that we are suffering from every single day. But real quick, I want to get this one scripture, and then I guess we could take questions. It looks like we got a brother who got a question. Let me go here to the book of Isaiah, the first chapter real quick. And I'm going to just quickly read the 21st verse. How is the faithful city become an harlot? It was full of judgment and judgment. Righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers. So we used to be a people who were a high moral standard. We used to love righteousness. We used to judge righteously and establish peace and equity with them amongst our people. Well, what are we doing now? We have become murderers now. You see what I'm saying? How has this happened? How has the greatest people on the planet Earth lost their morals and started to want to be like the so-called white man, our oppressor? You see what I'm saying? How has this happened? It's all because we turned away from the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High God gave us. So the moral of the story is we need to come back to those so we can reestablish peace and reestablish equity amongst our people. But we can go ahead and take whatever questions brothers have.
Okay, all right, let me go into this right now. I know my brother, Director Alvin, has some commentary that he wants to give. So, Brother Alvin, your mic is open right now, so go ahead, shoot away.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment about certain different kinds of people that call themselves Kemetic or Egyptian or whatever. It's like when it comes to Polight, he reminds me a lot of Anton LaVey in the sense of I don't think he really believes what he says. I think he caught on to something that gives him a lot of attention and then runs with it, and now you get some kind of celebrity status off it. You know, you drive, like I'm a director out here in Chicago. I do music videos. And he did everything I see rappers do in these videos I direct. He does the Instagram picture with the money, they do that. Drive around in the Bentley, they do that. Parade all his wives around to show he got hoes, I do that. You know, they do that. It's like, and then when you look at Anton LaVey, he didn't believe the devil exists. He didn't believe in none of that stuff. He was a showman. But he was getting a lot of attention and prestige off it and end up getting some kind of celebrity off it and have followers. And the stuff that Polight is doing reminds me of Anton LaVey a whole lot. Like, there's some people that I do believe they genuinely science or whatever you want to call it, but I don't really think he really believes in that stuff. That's all I had to say.
All right, thank you, brother. Thank you. You know, so I want to ask that to let's open up to the panel. Let's open up the panel right now. So what other comments or questions does the panel have to say? Any objections to what the brother Guerrilla Hebrew has said so far? Let me know. I'd also like to quickly, you know, welcome my brother Basim, who's one of our most you know, staunch supporters, and I respect him, and I'm grateful for the support that he offers and he gives freely of his heart. So, assalamu alaikum, my brother Basim. I salute you. I'd also like to welcome the brother Mikhail on the panel. I know some of us have heard him. He's there on the debate talk for you. That's Sal's debate talk for you. I know he's one of the greatest debaters on there as well. So I'd also like to welcome him on the panel as well. So shalom, my brother. So I think everybody's, you know, in agreement. It seems that everybody so far is in agreement with what my brother Guerrilla Hebrew has to say. If y'all ain't gonna be talking, I'm gonna send it right over to the YouTube audience and you know, read out some of the comments and questions that they have for the brother Guerrilla Hebrew. But before I do, brother Isa, talk to me before I read out these comments. How you doing? Is Isa there? Isa's hiding.
He's still on mute.
He's on mute. Okay. Well, we'll see if he comes on. I know he's just itching. He's usually itching at these moments in times to, speak forward, give us the supreme wisdom of the Quran, and refute other people's claims. Um, all right. Whilst we're waiting, because right now I have to read the comments. So, my brother Guerrilla Hebrew, have you got any other words that you'd like to say to us?
Yeah. Well, basically, I have a whole lesson I'm getting ready to do on black violence. So just if y'all go to my channel, channel for my whole camp, our classroom setting channel, which on YouTube, the actual URL is Sakari1715. That's on. Let me get the shirt up here. Sakari, SICARII 1715. The number 1, the number 7, the number 1, the number 5 is the actual URL. The name of the channel though is Sakari Sit Down. So search that on YouTube. I got a lesson I'm getting ready to do, Lord willing, tonight. Probably sometime after the show, Lord willing, have it up ASAP, dealing with black on black violence, just going really further in depth, because this is what we have to talk about. This is what is going on. We need to head on address the issues that are plaguing our community, okay? And can't nobody on the planet Earth tell me that the Hebrew Israelites, what we teach, whether it be nationality, law, statute, commandments, moral structure, discipline, militancy, all of those things are conducive to the upliftment of the black community. That is undisputable, okay? Totally indisputable. It speaks about separating and segregating ourselves from the outsiders. It speaks about giving us a system in which that helps, that one hand washes the other, and that is going to immensely help improve our communities and, us as a people at large. You see what I'm saying? So basically, nobody can gainsay that. But we got to talk about this black on black violence. I'm going to do a whole in-depth lesson on it. We're going to go to some statistics. We're going to deal with some scriptures. And we're going to talk about how to cure it. And that's by coming back to who you are as a Hebrew Israelite, turning from a Gentile, proselytizing yourself, and then ultimately making the full transition back to who you are as an Israelite and keeper of Torah. Okay? You see what I'm saying? So, and as more of us do that, we're going to see the kingdom of the Most High manifest. Who the world enemy calls Christ. Yahushua Mashiach told us the kingdom of God is within you. He said, don't believe them when they tell you it's over here or it's over there or it comes with observation. Okay, the kingdom is within us as a people, as God's chosen people. So we have the power invested in us by the Most High God as God's under him, as it says in Psalms 82:6, to manifest this salvation and manifest a kingdom. You understand what I'm saying? So, you guys are spooked out and Jesus is going to crack the sky. Jesus said it's within us. Not saying that he's not going to crack the sky and he's not going to come back, but he said it's within us to manifest. You understand what I'm saying? So the more that we wake up and the more that we come back to the law, statute, commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the faster we're going to see this manifest. You see what I'm saying?
All right, thank you, my brother. All right, I also have to give a big shout out as well to the Black Lotus Civilization. I see you, family. I see you. Respect, salute as well. I can see you. You're going in with the comment section. I see my brother Yusuf as well from the Islamic. The Brotherhood of the Islamic, I can't remember the actual name, so forgive me. The Imam Talib actually oversaw the burial service for Dr. Ben in the Abyssinian church, and they did a janazah prayer, the Islamic Muslim janazah prayer for Dr. Ben as well. So I see you out there. I hear the comments. So salute to you lot. So, you know what? This is a question that is out there. So, the Hebrews believe that the skies are actually going to be cracked open, and the Yahushua HaMashiach is going to come out from the sky with a band of servants or a band of soldiers. Could you give us a bit more insight onto that?
Yeah, the scriptures tell us. Now, all Hebrews, of course, don't necessarily believe that. We have, a huge thing with the Messianic Hebrews and non-Messianic, meaning those that believe. And in all actuality, a lot of non-Messianic brothers aren't actually non-Messianic. and there's a lot of non-messianic trolls that you'll see out there that are leeches that leech off a lot of the quote-unquote One West based camps. So they don't necessarily speak for all of them, but a lot of basically certain people who we would declare non-messianic, they're not necessarily non-messianic. They just don't believe the figure who is known as Jesus Christ, spoken about in the New Testament, was the actual Messiah. But as far as what we believe, my camp and many of our contemporaries, camps that you would consider One West camps, people who came out of various groups that originated on 1 West 125th Street in Harlem. Basically, we believe that who the world calls Christ with the heavenly host. You see in the Old Testament, the Most High God is referred to as Yahweh Tazabah, or the Lord of Hosts. Host means armies, right? So he's going to be seen with the armies of heaven, which is dealing with angels who are basically soldiers for the Most High, and will deliver a remnant of the nation of Israel, not 100% of the nation of Israel, 33.3% of the nation of Israel, will deliver us from destruction and implement the kingdom of heaven on earth, which is basically world domination and conquering of the world, and basically taking power out of the hand of the so-called white man and giving it to who it belongs to, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. So basically, from our paradigm and from the Holy Bible, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, that's what we believe. Of course, the sky will not be cracked, because the sky is, of course, open. You see what I'm saying? But, for the terminology that people use, is Jesus going to crack the sky? Yes, Yahweh Shai is going to, quote-unquote, crack the sky. Divine, and it's not a far-fetched ideology that at this point in the deterioration and is far removed from who we are and our customs that we are in this state today, it is not far-fetched to think that divine intervention would be needed in order for us to truly obtain and receive salvation. You muted, King. You muted.
Another hot topic that is out there as well is the so-called hatred for the Africans. Could you give us a bit more of an insight? Actually, let me ask you this fundamental question. Do you, have the same ideology as the ISUPK for the hate for Africans?
Basically what I'll say is this. I'll say that I hate every nation that's not an Israelite. So Hamitic nations, I hate. Now, I have a hatred that's more directed towards a certain group of people, would be the Edomite, the so-called white man, but every single African is not a Hamite, and that's a misconception that we got to understand. I got this book here. I got a few books here, but it's a good one. And Shaka almost recommends it for those of y'all that, respect his scholarship. The Africans who wrote the Bible is by a brother, a PhD brother, Nani Dakwa, right? He's a PhD brother. He's actually out of the Ashanti tribe. He's an Akan. Okay, so basically, he details how the biblical manuscripts and the people that are spoke about in the Bible actually exist today in West Africa. There's another book called Revelation, which is written by another Akan brother that details the same thing. So, and it's not limited to West Africa. There are also those of us that are elsewhere, parts of Central Africa, East Africa. You got the Limba tribe and things of that nature. So you have people who are African in the sense that they currently reside on the continent that is known as Africa, who are actually patrilineal Hebrew Israelites. So to generalize that there's hatred for all Africans is, that's kind of rhetorical. You understand what I'm saying? Kind of going back to the rhetoric I spoke about earlier. You see what I'm saying? Really, it's Hamites. My hate is directed towards Hamites, and there's a reason for that. And I want to go into something because me and the brothers, the Spirit was on the brother to go into the entire book of Zechariah, the prophet Zechariah in the Bible. And I want to show y'all something real quick. This is Zechariah. I'm in the 9th chapter. Real quick, where am I at here? Where am I going to start? Matter of fact, let me go to Amos 1. Go ahead.
Why are you looking for that? I just want to just give some clarification, because a lot of times we hear, these stinking Africans, etc., etc., and a lot of, the black folks, the Kemetic folks, are feeling quite offended by these words that are being stated. And I'm always of the opinion that, the word Africa is really a catch-all phrase. It's a catch-all phrase. It's to deal with rhetoric. It's to stimulate, to aggravate you in a particular way. But there is no type of qualification. What do you mean when they say African? What is it when they say African? Because clearly the Hebrews must have been from the continent that we know of today as Africa when they were taken as slaves back in the 1600s, etc. So Hebrews clearly had to be an African, or African, to be taken from West Africa, Central Africa, etc., over into the Americas, over into the Caribbeans, etc. So clearly they had to be an African. So I'm always of the opinion that it is used in rhetoric. There's no qualification attached to it. It's just there to aggravate you and bite at it, and you're like, and it's to get your attention. But you just done something that was very profound, which nobody else has really, to my awareness, has actually done to clarify the point. It's not really Africa as such, but it's mainly the Hamites, because according to Nana Dankwa from the Ashanti tribe in Ghana, he states that the Hebrews can be found and situated in West Africa. I'm not too sure among the tribes. I'm sure it's among the Ashanti tribe, the Akan tribe, the Afanti, the Asante, the Igbo tribe, I believe, the Yoruba House, etc. So we're not really, when the Hebrews talk about the Africans, it's not really African in general, but it is a certain few tribes that you lot would consider to be called the Hamites, rather than the Shemites or the Hebrews, who can be found all over Africa.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something we got to qualify, and we got to quantify, and we got to contextualize the statement of what people mean when they say Africa. And I think brothers who are Hebrew Israelites need to do a better job as far as doing that. You see what I'm saying? As far as saying, well, these individuals, they are, I'm saying I'm referring to the Hamitic people. You see what I'm saying? And here's why. I'm gonna go here to the book of Amos. And I'm going to start at the first chapter, and I'm going to start from the 9th verse. Thus saith the Lord. And I want to say this real quick before I do that. As far as Israel and Africa, when we deal geologically, as Ankhakek, who just came on, will point out, Israel is on the African tectonic plate. So technically, Israel is in Africa, if so we can make that argument. But real quick, this is Amos 1 and 9. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, Tyre, ancient city of the Zidonians, Hamites, Africans, as some would say, right? And for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, because the Tyrians and the Zidonians co-conspired with the white men and the Edomites, especially when they went and started to assume the identity of the Grecians, which is historically documented. They co-conspired with these white people to enslave us as Israelites. This is why we have a negative sentiment towards Hamitic people, because they co-conspired with the white man thousands of years ago to this very day, even during the transatlantic slave trade, to sell us to them. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to start back here from the top. Amos 1 and 9. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom. So because they co-conspired with the Edomites, the white man, to enslave us, they did it thousands of years ago, and they did it in recent times. And remember not the brotherly covenant, because we had a brotherly covenant that was established during the time of King Hiram with the Zidonians, with the Hamitic people, with the African. Verse 10, but I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the palaces thereof. Now, if anybody knows history, when Alexander the Great started his escapades, or whatever you want to call them, he went to Tyrus and he burnt the walls of Tyrus, proving that biblical prophecy tells you history before it happens, proving the historical reliability and validity of the Bible. It said that fire would be upon the walls of Tyrus. Go in history. Did Alexander the Great, or the Greek, or whatever the hell you want to call him, send fire to the walls of Tyrus? Yes. And why did the Most High God have that to happen? Why did he prophesy that would happen? Because even back then, the African or the Hamite was co-conspiring with the so-called white man to put us, the Israelites, into slavery. That's why we have an issue towards the so-called African or the Hamite, so you can understand. That's our problem. This is where the resentment comes from, because they have always co-conspired with our enemies, chiefly the so-called white man, to come against us. And I want to get this scripture real quick, and we can move on. Here in Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Psalms 83:3. They have taken crafty counsel against our people and consulted against our hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, because they want possession of our land. That's what it's all about. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. So they're in league with the white man, right? The tabernacles of Edom, the white man, and the Ishmaelites, the Arab, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, right? So we're talking about basically all the peoples of the earth. Gebal and Ammon, and Amalek, and the Philistines, Hamites, Africans, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Okay, so we see that a lot of so-called Africans were co-conspiring with other of our neighbors who were jealous and envious of us as a people, and because of the land that we possess, and have been in confederacy and been conspiring together to come against us, get us out of the land, and cut us off from being a people. That's where the resentment for the Hamite comes from. Okay, but yeah, we can move on.
Thank you, my brother. I know our panel here is itching to jump in with the conversation, but I'm just going to respect our YouTube audience and our Facebook audience, and I'm going to ask you one question here, and we're going to go on to our panel. So the question here is, basically, Guerrilla Hebrew, would you entertain some sort of interfaith coalition to benefit people of color? And if so, if you're down with a coalition, what could we do to help the people? So,
an interfaith coalition of color. What that is honestly New Age ideology. At one point in time, I might have been willing to entertain that, but because of the lack of effort that I have seen put forth by the people of other ideologies, I'm really not interested in that. In all actuality, the law, statute, commandments, and the things that are set up in the Bible, you can set up a community totally based off the Torah that takes care of each and every single person on basically within the community. It takes care of the people who do the religious service as far as the priests. It takes care of their families. It takes care of the orphans, the widows, the strangers, so on and so forth. So in all actuality, all we need is the Bible to truly come together as a coalition and help, because I don't see bylaws in many of these other paradigms that would basically go forth with that. They would have to create these bylaws. We would already have them. You see what I'm saying? So really what it is people need to get on board, because all they're doing is stopping the true progress of us as a people. Everybody there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think it might have been Kalam might have froze his access. I'm not sure though.
Hey, good job on slaying this everybody, Gorilla. Hey, you took the gloves off for real, man.
All praise to the Most High, man, you know.
Yeah, man. Oh, there go Colin. Yeah, man. I'm glad a lot of this stuff getting cleared up, because I'm just wondering, when is it going to be the end?
What got cleared up? What got cleared up?
A lot of stuff. As far as with the difference of the Hebrews and the doctrines and that whole Polight thing, that's cleared up.
It got cleared up with what our brother just said to us. When it got cleared up with what Guerrilla Hebrew?
Yeah, as far as yeah, he cleared it up. But and he'll tell you. If you want to ask him about what wasn't cleared up, you can ask him. He's right there.
Well, he came out talking about rhetoric. He came out talking about rhetoric, and then he went on to continue the show by spewing out a whole lot of rhetoric.
How did I spew and show a whole lot of rhetoric?
Well, if you look up the definition of rhetoric, rhetoric is language designed to have a persuasive or effective effect on the audience, but often regarded as a lack of sincerity or meaningful content. So if I don't consider you sincere or your content meaningful, I can consider your diatribe rhetoric. You didn't give us no sources on nothing. You keep on talking about how the Bible is a solution. That's all rhetoric. Everything you saying is rhetoric to bring people to your side of the table.
Okay. So I didn't bring any sources. What history did I sit here and talk about some type of historical thing that existed? Did I sit here and try to give you some eloquent presentation like y'all do, putting people to damn sleep with that nonsense? No, the hell I didn't. What needed sources? Okay, I said Polight acted like a little kid. We can all take a look at little kids and see them get mad at inanimate objects because they don't have the intellectual capacity to deal with it. Am I lying?
All of that is language designed to persuade.
All right. Okay. So it wasn't meaningful or sincere. Everything. Listen. Then everything you got to say is not meaningful and not sincere. Big goddamn deal.
That's where we at. Definition of the term. See, I gave you the definition of the term rhetoric that you talked about all night.
Yeah. Well,
and then everything you did matched the definition.
Well, everything.
That's why I called you a hypocrite.
Everything that you do matches the definition too. At the end of the day,
that's not true. Look, at the end of the day, if you want to search for meaningful content and what I'm saying, at least you can find the true definition of rhetoric. If you need any meaningful content and what I'm saying, at least address I gave you the true definition of rhetoric.
Jonathan, you got a foundation, right?
So that's why I called you a hypocrite.
Jonathan,
you sat here all day after talking about
foundation, right? Jonathan, you got a foundation, right?
What does that have to do with you being a hypocrite?
Listen, I'm just asking you, do you have a foundation?
Well, that could apply to many things. What do you mean? I got a foundation in music. I got a foundation in my community.
Let me ask you this. What community outreach programs do you currently have in place?
Community outreach?
Yeah.
I don't believe in community. Let me tell you, I don't believe in the community outreach because I've been in the nonprofit system, and that's all BS. If you think you standing on the corner is reaching anybody in my community, no. I reach people internationally and globally. So I use a different auxiliary to get useful information out to my people.
Brother, what are you doing for people in East Oakland? What are you doing for people in the Dubs? What are you people doing for people in the
Let me tell you just for one, there's an event called FAST, not my event, Hyro Day, another event called FAST. It's called For a Safe Oakland. It's been running for 3 years. You need to look into who started that. I think his name is Jonathan Owens. Okay,
Jonathan,
you asked me a question. Can I answer the question?
No. Here's what I'm saying, though. I'm asking you the question for a reason.
You don't want to
ask you the question. Listen. I'm not asking you the question to attack you. I'm asking you the question to establish something. You have community. The reason I ask you is because I know you have these things in order. I don't know exactly all the details, but I know you have these things in order. How many of your contemporaries that you run around with and call yourself a scholar with can say they also have these things in order? This is what the hell I'm talking about. We are missing the whole point, and we got to get to the crux of the issue, which is what the hell are we doing to help the community? So you do things to help the community, and I know you do things to help the community.
Hold on, bro. Let me start.
Your brethren and your fellow Ross Squad members doing.
Let me start.
What are your fellow commentologists doing? What the hell are they doing? It's a mayor's proclamation. Listen,
Yeah.
Jonathan.
What is the proclamation for? Let's read. Hold on. You want to talk about doing something for the community? Whereas in underground hip hop,
what color is the mayor of Oakland? What color is the mayor of Oakland? What color is the mayor of Oakland?
Then you asked the question. You weren't doing.
Then you asked the question.
But he wasn't implying that you weren't doing it.
But
I'm a member of the Kemetic community.
It's the whole
Don't take my achievements, nothing we've done, and take it out and be like, oh, Kemites don't do nothing, because that's not true. I've been rocking under the name hieroglyphics since 1993.
Listen, and that's the reason I asked you the question. But how many of the people that you run with, as far as scholastically, can say the same thing? How many? Who else is doing stuff like that?
Man, a lot of them. Your brother Polight is that you sat here and bashed all night.
What's Polight doing? What's Polight doing?
He can speak for himself, but I threw him out to say that he does have organizations in this community, and you know the name of his organization, correct? So he's doing something.
Because all the testimonies I get from New Covenant members is that they got robbed.
Well,
That's it.
that's not my field or my category, but the question you asked was what was they doing? So I just named this organization. You see what I'm saying? And you can go through. I mean, there's so many Kemetic communities. You go from Asar Aset to plenty other Kemetic communities that you just probably are not privy to.
Yeah,
Here
I'm
in
not
Oakland,
privy. And
here
this
in
is
Oakland, we have Wosay, which I'm a member of Wosay in Oakland. That's Per Ankh, the House of Amarah, the House of Knowledge, right there on 89th and 89th and D or whatever, or 89th and D, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But there are associations and Kemetic communities all over the nation. But again, my point was you came out taking off the gloves and then you didn't spew out nothing but rhetoric and you just did everything you blamed everybody else for doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, thank you, my
that's
brother
not true.
Jonathan.
That's not true at all. Whatever.
Thank you, my brother Jonathan, for your input. I'm sorry, everybody, but my computer kind of shut down. I believe the internet kind of shut down, so I missed a good load of what was going on. We're gonna take a few more questions and comments, and then we're gonna close the show. The show is gonna close for the live viewing, but if you still want to get in and ask Brother Guerrilla Hebrew any questions, we're going to stay open for a little bit longer where you can actually talk with the panel itself. Brother Mikhail, I know you've been waiting for a while. I'm not too sure if you were able to actually weigh in on the conversation, but if you haven't, the floor is open to you right now.
Okay, shalom, shalom to the whole panel, man. Shalom to my Guerrilla Hebrew. Love you, bro. And I have to say this was extremely powerful. I'm pretty sure you're familiar, with how the spirit works. Now, they can call it spookism, but I have not talked to you. I did not. Kalam even kept his secret on who was going to speak today. He just said it was one of your Hebrews. Yesterday, we were on a private hangout talking about this exact same thing. And I have to say, I stopped broad stroking everybody. I got to give a shout out to my brother Kansu, who was came up as a Moorish American. Y'all know him, but he's with the Kemetic community. And me and him are both from Chicago, and we were both active gang leaders at one time. You know, outstanding members, rather, as they call it, gang. I don't even like that term, in Chicago. So we were breaking down the whole history to the panel, and a lot of the stuff we said, you touched on it. Now, this is what's important to me, because at the end of the day, the debating, it serves its purpose, but if you're not out there in the highways and byways, in the streets, you know, whatever form you do it, even if it's not standing there preaching, if you're not going amongst these people, our people, who the world looks at as monsters, then you know what you are. I don't care how many books you read, you dead weight to our community, and I'm going to stop giving you credit. I want to say this. If you look at certain things, like when you brought up with the Moorish situation, I was raised Moorish American. Won't bash all them brothers because a lot of them have good hearts and intentions. But when I ask them, I say, how many times did the Europeans break treaties with y'all? Was it 20, 200, or 2,000? How many it was, however many it was, it lets me know they were not trying to deal with you, but you kept kissing butt to try to get in their political system. Our scriptures tell us we are not of this kingdom. We are not of this world. We're not kissing ass to get in y'all in y'all kingdom. Y'all got y'all time right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's one point I heard you bring it up, because yeah, you can switch from a driver's license and go to a trafficking license. But at the same time, if you run a red light and the police right there, you're going to get a ticket. So it doesn't even matter. You're not truly sovereign. It is a illusion. Now, I know brothers who got their card, but if you want to know what real sovereignty is, let a diplomat come over here. They can commit a crime that literally breaks the Constitution, and you cannot touch them. So that is phony and it's fake and it's an illusion. And a lot of times it's to get your money. I tell people, if you really care about getting sovereignty to feel better, go down there and file the papers yourself. Don't give nobody your money. You know what I'm saying? With the gang thing, it started exactly like the way the brother said it. And so my whole thing is, I'm going to get in contact with you, bro, and we're going to get together and we're going to put some stuff together. So I say shalom to your whole work.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right. So I'm going to open up again, for a last time to a panel member. So if anybody on the panel has anything to say, now is the time to say it while we're still live on air. So the mics are open. I'm going to give you a few seconds to jump in. All right.
I got a question.
Go ahead, my bro.
I also often hear my brothers refer to prophecy. Even my brother Guerrilla Hebrew tonight referred to prophecy as if our condition today, the plight of black people, has been prophesized as if it is commanded by God. Well, if that's the case, why do they also ask for the solution to what has been commanded by God? I mean, if there's a prophecy, can we read and find out when it's going to stop in the book?
Tremendous question, Jonathan. Thank you for that question. The answer is yes. Okay. The question, what you hear Hebrew Israelites do, right? Typically, is go to Deuteronomy 28 in the 68th verse, right, and tell you, look, we came into Egypt again on ships. Now, that's the primary source in Scripture that we say prophetically describes the situation that we are currently in. Now, when we go to verse 15, when the curses start, it tells us why, basically how to break the chain and to break the cycle. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. This is why we encourage our people to come back to the Torah, to the laws, because the reason why we're in this predicament is because we rejected the laws. Okay? Real quick, I'm going to get 2 Kings real quick, or 1 Kings rather, and the 8th chapter, where I'm going to start at. Okay, this is 1 Kings 8 and 47. This is King Solomon speaking. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives, right? So we here in America, right? And if we think in the place where we're carried captives, and repent means stop being wicked and come back to the laws, and make supplication unto in the land of them that let me start. And repent and make supplication unto thee, meaning unto the Most High, in the land of them that carried them captive, saying, we have sinned. So we have to stop sinning and we have to acknowledge that we sin. We have sinned and have done perversely and have committed wickedness. And so return unto thee with all their heart and with all their soul. So this is what we need to do to stop these curses. Return to the Most High with all our heart and soul, with all our mind, body, power, and spirit, in the land of their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto thee toward their land, meaning pray to the east toward Yahweh, to Yahweh, right? Which thou gavest unto their fathers, the city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name. So the thing is, we need to come back to the system that the Most High God gave us that we could clearly put to the test and show that it's beneficial. For example, I mean, simply the 10 Commandments. Even they teach the 10 Commandments in the church. Thou shalt not murder. How many of our brothers murder every day? Thou shalt honor thy mother and father. How many of us have issues with doing that every day? Thou shalt not make any prostitute of the daughters of thy people. How many of us have issues of that every day? Now, Jonathan, you in Oakland, go to E14. Are our brothers making prostitutes and whores out of our daughters? But if they believed in the Bible, they would stop doing that. I can't guarantee that of any other system. If they followed the Bible. Now, I ain't even going to say believe in the Bible, because a lot of our brothers, they believe in the Most High. They have a zeal of the Most High. But if they literally were in a state where they were told that they needed to be disciplined and follow this for real, not like grandma told you to do it, for real, things like this wouldn't be occurring. And that's just the crux of, I mean, not the crux, that's just the surface of it. It gets deeper. Whether it be dietary, our people wouldn't be dying so much, man. If we knew how to take better care of ourselves. All of these things can be found within the 613 laws of the Torah. So the whole thing is to reverse this, and to get out of this situation, we need to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments the Heavenly Father gave.
All right. Thank you, my brother Guerrilla Hebrew. And that just seems like a very excellent note to leave this live session with. If you want to hear more from Guerrilla Hebrew, you're always welcome to join the panel. Also, Guerrilla Hebrew, what have you got? What projects are coming up in the future? What are you working on? How can the brothers and sisters out there who are loving what you're saying so far get in contact with you?
Yeah, just you go to my camp's YouTube, which is Sakari Sit Downs or Sakari, and the number is 1715 on the URL. Hit us on the Facebook, facebook.com/Exodus, and the number is 1715. You know, and you can get in contact with us that way. Right now, we just did a full breakdown, a comprehensive prophetic breakdown of the book of Zechariah. Went into a lot of the history and the history that has already occurred that's within it, and the things that are still to come that are within it. We also have a few other things. We're going to do a thing on some Mexican history. We're going to do some information on Esau being a white man and going into the history and the prophecy that all concerns that. I also have a documentary that I'm working on through the Spirit, Lord willing, should be out soon, called Valley, and it's speaking about the Valley of Dry Bones and the history of the Hebrew Israelite movement in the United States of America. So hit us up with any of that, and you know, look out for those things. But mainly go to our YouTube. I got the lesson on black violence that should be up, Lord willing, by the end of tonight.
Oh, excellent. Okay, great stuff. So I'm sorry for all my panel members out there who didn't get an opportunity to talk on the live feed, or those who are on the YouTube that didn't get a chance to ask their question as well.
Can I say something?
If you join us, one second, if you join us, you know, after the show, hopefully then, you know, you can get some of your questions in. Let me just make sure that my mic is completely up. Brother Ankh, you have something real quickly to say?
Yeah, I was just surprised that Guerrilla Hebrew would say something negative about the Amon Ra squad. I've never said nothing to him. All right, negative one with. Matter of fact, I've tried to help him, and he can tell you right now that I was one of the ones that piqued his interest in archaeology. Right? I say, Doug, you can't keep working that shit like that. Learn some archaeology. You know, he was just running around with that book. Hold on, dude. I know you're looking like a Palestinian over there. I see you. But my point is, you said that I was out there with rhetoric. So let's look at the word rhetoric. First of all, rhetoric is an Egyptian thing. Okay, that's like the art of speech. Let's get that straight. Second of all, right? What they was talking about, Malcolm did that before. They just on the corner howling about the white man and the devil. How is that a solution to help out people? What I effectively did was I went out there and I got them out the Bible. If you look at their whole discourse, 99% of the time they was out the Bible. So it's important for our people, right, to stop relying so much on the Bible and learn the history of the world. Bible ain't a history book. So I'm just trying to let you know, bro.
The Bible ain't a history book. That's a goddamn lie.
Hold on. They don't have any institutions. ISUPK do not have a goddamn institution built. Let's keep that shit real. All right? So I just want to let you know they was doing nothing but run their mouth, read, and as a matter of fact, you don't even agree with them. So stop playing, bro. You know, I fucks with you. But don't be disingenuous, yo. All right? Because you can get them arrows too. All right? I'm just letting you know. Don't nobody critique your work. We let you go. Like, for instance, when you go in the Bible and make the claim that we helped enslave the Hebrews, that's a bunch of bullshit. And you only use the Bible. Go ahead. All right, I'm going to shut up. Go ahead, Kalam. Oh, cussing. I'm just saying you can't use the Bible, right, to mandate that Africans help enslave Hebrews. Okay? The only thing you said that was smart, right, is that those brothers that have accepted Judaism, right, this in West Africa, they wasn't Hamites because there ain't no such thing as Hamites. Come on, man, I ain't even talking to you, yo. So you need to just stand the fuck down, Miguel. I'm talking to my man right there. I'm sorry about cussing, right? The point I want to make is, come on, man. We all in this struggle together, mighty Hebrew. I want to bear for a reason to let people know that there's other information and other books beside the Bible calling white people the devil. That's all I want to say, brother.
Now, if I can respond to that quickly, Kalam. I said in the beginning, it wasn't no personal attack. You know what I'm saying? I ain't coming to attack you personally, but I'm speaking out against not liking what you did in your methodology in allegedly trying to uplift the people. The whole thing is the Bible. Just going out there and calling a white man the devil is just one surface thing to get our people to recognize their enemy. The key thing that we need to do is come back to the morality system that exists within the Bible. Do you understand that? That's what it's all about, to turn the hearts of our people back into a true moral system that will help to uplift our people. That's the point. You understand what I'm saying? You said a few things. I don't remember all of them. I know we ain't got that much time because I'm trying to stop it. But I just wanted to make sure to clarify to you the standpoint of that. Now to say, oh, you said the Bible wasn't a history book. Now that's a lie. And I just did a whole presentation on the entire book of Zechariah with historical references proving what? How Hamitic or Tyrians and Zidonians and people who would consider African assisted white people in enslaving Hebrew Israelites. I have the historical documentation on it. I just did a 5-part presentation on it. It's about 4 hours long. So I would recommend that to everybody.
All right. We can't wait to watch this documentary. I know Brother Ang wants to go in, but we're going to close the show. We're going to go in right after the show. Finish.
Just hit me out. Just hit me out so we could, we could talk whenever, man. You know what I'm saying? I was speaking about you, so you got the right to respond.
Yeah, I ain't say nothing. I'm just saying, yo, them niggas been talking about, they wasn't talking about nothing on that corner for the last 50 years. That's not a solution. You know what I'm saying? That's not a solution.
The idea is to wake our people up out of sleep, and then once they wake up, then you give them the solution. You see what I'm saying? But my bad, Kalam, go ahead.
No. You know what they did agree on, though? They agreed this. And here's where you faulty down the stretch. They agreed that the Bible is for the Hebrew Israelites, bro. Right? And so the fact that y'all try to make everybody in America a Hebrew Israelite, yo, is out of order and you know it, bro. Just tell the truth, bro.
Because a lot of people just sit here and supposed to be writing down notes and things like that.
Okay. Let me just mute everybody's mic. If you're not speaking at the moment, please keep your mics muted. All right, so I'd like to thank everybody that has come on the show. We've had our brother Guerrilla Hebrew on, the Sergeant of Sakari. It's always a pleasure to have him on. He was one of our first Titans to grace your screens on Talk with the Titans. So when this brother said he had a few things on his mind, I'm in my sabbatical. I'm trying to do some filming, some documentaries. I'm tired. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, going on to 2 o'clock in the morning. And this brother says he has me on his mind that he has to talk. I'm like, yo, I need to create an emergency show to get this brother on from the bottom of my heart. And this brother is my uck, and I love him to bits. All right. But we're going to sign out right now, and I'm going to thank our members, our audience members, from Issa to the rap god himself, Ankhakek, Mikhael, Director Alvin, Basim, Bud, everybody who's joined us. So thank you very much, and everybody out there in YouTube land, hit that share button, and if you haven't joined it already, go on to Talk with the Titans Facebook group and join us in this live discussion or after show discussion. So peace. Salute. I'm signing out. This has been Kalam Al, and you've been watching Talk with the Titans.